all their Paris parts also they've shot in
This is shot in
Amsterdam only.
Amsterdam. No, yeah.
It's so
All their houses, Bombay houses are in Renaissance away. You know?
yeah. I'm like, yeah, no production design was
Not
done.
design. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too funny. Like, because they're like, कहाँ हिंदुस्तान ने France देखा है, कहाँ Amsterdam देखा है, दिखा दो जो
Boy.
दिखाना है.
Yeah. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Breakdown Besties podcast. I'm Ananya,
I'm Akshay.
and we are your Breakdown Besties. Together, we have 14 years of combined experience writing for platforms like Amazon, Disney Plus, Netflix, with shows like Inside Edge, Mismatched, Wedding.com, Tana Naidu, Grahan, Ishq in the Air, and a host of others that have gotten stuck in development hell but will hopefully see the light of day one day. With the Breakdown Besties podcast, our goal is to give you a film school experience where essentially what is done is you study the great, the famous scripts and films, and you see what they get right, you break it down to understand the techniques, and then you use those in your own writing to write iconic scripts that people will watch over and over and maybe break down like we are. So, and today, the movie that we will be doing is something that it is. Would you call it like our version of Harry Met Sally
Yeah, it is an unofficial remake.
remake, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the movie we're doing today is Hum Tum, written by Kunal Kohli and Siddharth Anand. And I want to give a special shout out to Zingur. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. He's the one who recommended that we break this film down and see what works. So we are doing that. We are your humble servants. Okay, so shall we just dive right into the log line?
Let's go for it.
What is your log line? Your log line is your film's guiding light. When you're writing a film, and if you're especially getting lost in the weeds of the film and you can't see the forest for the forest for the trees, that's when your log line helps you out. It reminds you what your film is really about because it is the essence of your film in one line, ideally less than 40 words. Now, why does this work as the essence of your film? What's so great about it? Well, your logline contains four really important elements. The first is your flaw, limitation, block, wound, need, whatever you want to call it. It is something within your character that is holding them back, that they're having trouble with, which is not allowing them to, element number two, achieve their goal. The goal is your main, it's the point of your film. It's why we're watching the whole film. It is the journey your character is going to be going on. Then you have the conflict. The conflict is an external circumstance or challenge, a series of challenges that essentially are built to give, to kind of challenge your character's need or your flaw. When they're forced to confront it, they have to overcome it. And when they overcome it, they're able to move forward and achieve their goal. And the final one is your stakes. Stakes are what the characters lose should they not achieve their goal. It's not simply not achieving their goal, it is going one level lower. Hmm. Cool. So, the logline of Hum Tum. A polar opposite guy and girl navigate the ups and downs of their friendship, trying to understand how they fit into each other's lives.
Yeah, that's like a very similar thing I've written. Yeah.
What have you got?
I written two polar opposite individuals keep bumping into each other over the years and develop an unconventional relationship.
Yeah,
Huh.
exactly. Unconventional, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
I just
So,
felt like bumping into each other might be slightly important because uh their personality traits like that they're not the same, they're opposites, but still that the conflict becomes like made to keep bumping into each other via different reasons. So that's what I put that in.
Yep. The first half of the film, they're bumping into each other. The second half, it turns into more of
Yeah.
an intentional relationship.
Yeah.
Mhm. So the flaw would be that the need or whatever the wound is that they are polar opposites, or it's their
Hmm.
block in this case. I think block is
Yeah,
the correct word.
correct
It's
word. Yeah.
blocking them from coming together.
Hmm.
Then the conflict is that they are navigating the ups and downs of their relationship. So, like you
Hmm.
said, they are bumping into each other because they're polar opposites. So they have to build a relationship. How do they do it? They keep bumping heads. The goal is to understand how they fit into each other's lives, or as
Hmm.
you said, build an unconventional relationship. Both of them are the same thing, right?
Hmm.
Because that is what they're heading towards. And while there are no stakes in either of our log lines, it's fairly implied, right, in this relationship that if they don't figure out how to be in each other's lives, they will lose each other. So the stakes are
Yeah,
losing each other.
each other.
It
Huh.
is very implied within the goal and the
Yeah,
rest of the log line.
yeah.
Then we'll get into our hero's journey. What is your hero's journey? Your hero's journey is the structural spine of your film. It is the journey that every hero, heroine, hero X embarks on when they decide to take on something new, a challenge which they haven't before, and step into a new world to achieve a goal.
Hmm.
This storytelling structure has been used since time immemorial. It is one that we have experienced in our own lives over and over again when we set out to do something that is out of our comfort zone.
Hmm.
This works so well because it gives your audiences emotional hits every so often at turning points, which your characters are eventually going to have to meet because this journey makes it inevitable for them to meet these various points as they grow into who they're supposed to become. So, yeah, let's get into our hero's journey.
Let's get it.
Okay. So, the first beat of your hero's journey is your ordinary world. Your ordinary world is where the world in which your characters exist before they have decided to go on this journey ahead of them. We see who they are, what their flaw, block, or wound is. We see the when, where, what, who, where of their situation, and we understand where they are coming from. So over here, the ordinary world is very limited, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
It is, we see both Saif and Rani's character, Karan and Ria, at the airport. They are both going to the US, Rani to study, Saif, I don't exactly know why.
Both studying.
Oh, he's studying too. Okay.
Yeah.
Not sure it's studying types. So,
No, I think he's studying. He said कि अमेरिका पढ़ने जा रहा हूँ मैं माँ. Something like that. But huh, I'm
yeah.
assuming creative writing
Yeah.
at Tish. I don't.
Designing. Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to study fashion designing.
Fashion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so we see the both of them in their ordinary lives with their family, and we see their flaws that Rani Mukherjee's character is slightly uptight, and that Saif is a non-committal dude who has
Yeah.
no fucks to give. Then we have, and even the flight sequence, I would put it as ordinary world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
So yeah, they're both in the flight. They have obviously gotten seated next to each other and they have a conversation. Rani is herself, she's uptight. Saif is himself, he's flirting and making fun of her at the same time. And then they both land at KLM at Schiphol at Amsterdam Airport, which is their stopover before their flight to New York.
Hmm.
Now, over here we have the call to action.
Hmm.
Now, what is your call to action? It is when your hero is beckoned to pursue their goal, to go after their enter the new world and go after their goal.
Hmm.
Over here, the call to action comes from Saif's character, where he says, "Hey, we're in Amsterdam for 6 hours. You surprisingly have a visa. I surprisingly have a visa.
Hmm.
So, chalo, ghumne jate hain
Yeah.
Amsterdam." Then you have the refusal of the call. Because usually, when your character is being asked to go on this new journey, there is hesitation, there is reluctance. You're like, am I even equipped to do this? And over here, Rani Mukherjee's character initially is like, what, you, put Amsterdam with
Hmm.
you, like around Amsterdam, not happening. She
Hmm.
kind of refuses the call.
Hmm.
Then you have the next beat of meeting the mentor. The mentor is your character who has walked the path on which your character is now going to go. They are the guide, and if your goal is to slay the dragon, they're the one who finally hands you the sword to do it. But I don't think we have a mentor in this, right?
I actually, and what I've noted is that
Hmm.
that was the first refusal of call
Hmm.
where she hesitates before going for the journey with him.
Yeah.
In my analysis, the f- the moment when he kisses her and she has a big
Hmm.
fight after with him, that
Yeah.
you and I are never gonna get together. This is the
Yeah.
end of our story. Like, to
Hmm.
me, that also felt the bigger refusal of call for
Yeah.
their relationship.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And then structurally, I
Hmm.
felt meeting the mentor in our case became Saif Ali Khan's mother,
Yeah.
Karan's mother, uh, played by Rati Agnihotri, that
Hmm.
she invites him for a wedding, that you have to help me now. She runs a, if she's an event manager essentially, and
Yeah.
he lands at this wedding and unknowingly realizes that the wedding is of Ria, Rani
Rani,
Mukherjee's character.
yeah, that his
Yeah,
mom is organizing Rani's
yeah,
wedding. Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, that is
huh,
fair. So
yeah,
yeah, Rati Agnihotri's character ends up being the mentor,
yeah,
and they are so before that, but before the wedding, they meet once in New York. In
hmm,
New York, again, they get off on the wrong foot with each
but
other. She sees
yeah.
him flirting with someone who happens to be her schoolmate, and she I don't know what she does. Like she tells her the truth about him that he is a flirt.
Yeah, she tells him ki he
Yeah,
kissed
kissed
me,
me
like,
while
yeah,
y'all were dating. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. What a tattletale, Rani Mukherjee.
He- I mean, I get it. Like, listen, he was also like like his character has been like a cheater, whatever, like a flirt.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's not like they were besties, like
yeah,
she and girl. I don't know, girl code. Maybe I'm violating that girl code here, but
or they could be besties. She says कि we were so tight in school, but college के
it's
बाद
cool.
बात करना बंद कर दिया इसने. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
And I feel
Yeah.
she would have not tattled if like Karan was nicer to her, but like but like he forcefully kissed her and
Yeah.
like was so nonchalant about it. I think that would have
Yeah.
pissed her off.
Exactly. It's like, I kissed you, you slapped me, we're even.
Uh,
ठीक है? Okay. Cool. And then we have our crossing the threshold.
hmm,
Crossing the threshold is where your character finally says that, okay, I'm going to step into this new world, I'm going to go on this journey, and we are going to go after our goal.
hmm.
So, crossing the threshold would then, what would it be according to you?
In my case, it's just been that he sees uh Karan sees Ria getting married
Hmm.
and realizing that there is no there's no journey ahead.
Hmm.
Like it's an anti crossing the threshold of sorts, like
Hmm.
it ups the ante for their journey, like uh but it's not the end, you know. So for
Yeah.
what do you think?
I feel like then they've not really crossed the threshold, right? Because then that's refusal of the call. It's still
Hmm.
refusal and meeting the mentor in that
Yeah,
territory
could be that, huh?
because there is no
Hmm.
relationship there,
Hmm.
right? I would say crossing the threshold would then be that, okay, Rani Mukherjee is married to Abhishek
Hmm.
Bachchan now. She has left,
Hmm.
and then they run into each other at the train in
Hmm.
Paris, which is again a Dutch train, but
Yeah.
it's the NS Sprinter. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And then she says that my that this one Samir is not in
Is
my
no
life.
longer,
Yeah,
huh? Yeah.
in my life. And then he gets curious and he's like, "What's up?" So he calls Kiran Kher's character
Huh.
and he says, "Okay, what's going on here?" And he
Hmm.
meets her in Paris. And
Hmm.
in Paris, then he after that is leaving the house or something, and he meets Rani Mukherjee, and they have a
Yeah.
walk in the
Yeah.
snow.
Yeah.
And in that snow, he tries to
Hmm.
say, "Look, I'm sorry for you," all of that, but
Hmm.
he's not able to find the words. And at that
Hmm.
point, she's like, "Thank you." He's like, "For what?" Like,
Hmm.
for what you were trying to say.
Yeah.
And at that point, they've crossed the threshold
So
and built some sort of
something.
relationship.
Yeah. Huh. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because I have written the moment that she clocks him.
Hmm.
Because after the end of that walk, he leaves and
Yeah.
she looks back and like there's this smile on her face that, oh, now she for the first time clocked him as a
Yeah.
genuine guy, because during this walk there was no facade. Like, he wasn't trying to like
Hmm.
joke around. He wasn't trying to like flirt with her. He wasn't being crass or
Yeah.
rude or anything. The things which she finds repulsive. Like, he was
Hmm.
genuinely a genuine guy. And I
Yeah.
think, yes, yeah, definitely.
And then you have test allies and enemies.
Mm,
Test allies and enemies is when they're exploring their new world together.
mm,
They're understanding what challenges they'll face, how their
mm,
relationship will bloom,
mm,
who their people are going to be, etc. You're understanding what this new world is like.
mm,
And over here, we see them navigating their friendship. They get their parents get involved in each other's lives. They have dinner together. Then,
mm,
even as he leaves, she also moves back to Bombay.
mm.
Over there, he sets her up with. He wants to set her up with his brother. He's like, okay, now, like, but then the brother
Friend.
isn't Jimmy
Me?
Shergill his brother
No, no, friend.
friend?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I thought in the start because he gave the passport and
Huh. But that
yeah,
was a friend. He,
friend.
huh.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tries to set her up with Jimmy Shergill, but Jimmy
Mm,
Shergill falls in love with someone else.
mm,
That's and they banter about arranged marriage. They have like a fake date situation, all of that. So they're essentially navigating the landscape of their relationship. Like it's
yeah,
like like test allies and enemies.
yeah.
And then this ends. The test allies and enemies phase comes to an end where Rani finds out that Saif was trying to set her up with Jimmy Shergill,
Mm,
and she gets angry and she's like, "Why can't you just let women be alone?"
mm,
And she's like, "I don't want to get married. That's why I moved to Paris because no one there knows me. No one's going to force me to like get married." And they have a fight. And as they have this fight, Rani finds Saif drinking and very drunk, so she starts walking him home. And in the rain, they end up hooking up.
mm.
And that hooking up is your approach to the innermost cave. Now,
Right.
what is your approach to the innermost cave? It is if your goal is to slay the dragon, it is where you go and try to slay the dragon and get the bag of gold from underneath them.
Mm,
So, over here, this being a rom com, it is usually like a kiss or hooking
mm,
up or something like that.
mm,
And that's what they've done here. They've hooked up.
mm,
And then begins your ordeal. You have taken your bag of gold from the dragon, but maybe you haven't slain them successfully, and now they are coming after you. They're flying after you,
mm,
and you have to deal with the
mm,
consequences of that. Over here, it is that now Rani Mukherjee thinks that, oh, this is perfect. We're going to be in a relationship. And Saif is like, fuck, this should have happened. Have I ruined our relationship? I can't lose her. And Saif tells her that essentially, I'm really sorry this happened between
mm,
us. And Rani feels terrible about it. And
mm,
she decides to go back to Paris forever.
mm,
She's done.
mm,
And then you have your reward. Your
mm,
reward is when you finally get something in exchange for having done all the work, for having
mm,
approached the innermost cave and gone through your ordeal.
mm,
Because for all the suffering, there is some reward at the end of it.
mm,
Over here, it is the fact that Rishi Kapoor's character, who is Saif's dad, comes back. Now, Saif's dad and his mum have been separated because Saif's dad, much like him, is also a bit of a vagabond, non-committal, wants freedom in his life.
mm.
And he tells Saif that, look, Rani called me and she said she's moving back to Paris once and for all.
Also, but like, why
Hmm.
would she do that? Like, it's so
I
weird. Like,
don't know. It made no
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
It made no sense. It
yeah,
would have worked perfectly well, even if he hadn't made that call and he had just Rishi Kapoor had just come back to win over the mother, to win over
yeah,
Rati Agnihotri after all these years,
yeah.
just and say that look, I love you. I just realized it, and one should not let true
And
love,
that
like
would
run
have an
away.
impact on Seth's character,
Saif's
right? Like,
character,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but it didn't. Instead, very categorically tells him, look, Rani Mukherjee loves you.
Yeah. And also, like, I can't imagine why would she call him? Like,
Hmm.
she would call the guy's father saying, "Oh, I'm
Yeah,
leaving Paris."
yeah.
Like, how would
I'm
the
leaving
conversation be?
Bombay. Yeah.
I'm leaving. No, she said, "I'm leaving Paris."
No, she said she's going to Paris, right?
No,
Forever. Huh?
she tells her mother, "I'm gonna go somewhere. I
Oh,
don't know where.
somewhere.
I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing. I wanna go."
Go.
And this guy says, ki, oh, I'm leaving Paris. Like she's leaving Paris forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But essentially, Saif's reward is finding out that Rani actually does love him, that she doesn't
Yeah.
disrespect him or whatever after sleeping with him. So now we have the way back. The way
Hmm.
back is you essentially making your way back to the old world now that you've gotten your reward. But there
Hmm.
are still obstacles in your way back. There are still some leftover monsters that you have to slay.
Hmm.
Over here, Saif goes to Paris or some nondescript European city which is shot in Amsterdam
Hmm.
and starts knocking on doors and is like, have you seen this woman? Have you seen this woman? And no one has found Rani.
Yeah.
So he gives up, right?
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. He gives up. Yeah.
He gives up. He writes a book about their whole relationship, about the cartoon characters that he's been doodling. And he then is at a press release for his book. And he
Hmm.
says that I don't know what's ever going to happen between us. And as he's leaving the press release, Rani
Yeah.
Mukherjee is waiting for him. And over there, that is your resurrection. Your
Yeah.
resurrection is on your way back. You hit the lowest point. You're like,
Hmm.
I'm never going to make it back home. This is just not meant for me. I'm losing. I'm not going to win this goal after all. But then you do, you rise like a phoenix from the ashes, and you are willing to make your way back. And
Hmm.
here Rani says that, look, we are meant to be.
Hmm.
And they get together
Hmm.
finally. And then you have the return with the elixir, which is where you go into the old world, back into the old world, but you are now a new person. They go back into their old world, they're in a relationship now, but Saif is still himself, he's playful, Rani is still herself, and they've now had a kid together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. So that is your hero's journey. Should we go into theme next?
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's go into theme.
Okay. So what is your
Before we get into theme, sorry.
Yeah.
Uh, I think when we're talking about the structure and hero's journey, I think because it's about like an unofficial adaptation of When Harry Met Sally, I think our viewers should also watch that because um it's a very unconventional structure that this movie has adopted, right? Like uh generally what happens in a romantic comedy is that two characters are put on a journey together and now they navigate their entire life. The entire movie is about them being together. This was one Nora Ephron's like genius work where like they came together, got separated, came together, got separated. So there was no defined structure in the movie as such where it didn't. The movie had structure, but it didn't adhere to the structure of other romantic comedies in that
Hmm.
time. So I think like a great way to like break the conventional structure is by knowing the structure very well.
For sure.
So the more we do this exercise of like getting down the hero's journey, absolutely correct. You can play with not just the structure, but like also plotting of the structure.
Yeah.
So I think like that was really nice. And I think because her structuring was so unique, she got nominated for an Oscar for this movie.
Yeah.
And it's rare to get Oscar nomination for like romance comedy
Rom-coms.
movies, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think like that's pretty cool.
For sure. Yeah. And I was watching this reel that came up the other day where this guy was like, okay, if you're a filmmaker under 26, like go away, like don't watch this. And then he speaks
Huh,
to everyone above 26 and he's like, stop following the three act structure, blah, blah, blah.
huh,
And then
yeah,
he's like, oh, if you're 26 and you're still watching this, like study the three act structure. You need to know
yeah,
like what makes a why it's important. And it's
yeah,
essential, right? The reason we are giving you this hero's journey breakdown is so that you can understand the point of each of these beats. Why do they exist? What emotions do they bring out within you? And once you understand that, you can play around with the structure, but you will know what you're removing, what are the ramifications of removing that, where can you place it alternatively so that you can bring up the
yeah,
same emotions. So,
yeah,
but without understanding that, you're just taking away a piece of it like a building and hoping like the building will still stand.
yeah, correct.
Cool. Let's go into theme next. Okay. So, what is your theme? Your theme is your belief or view of the world that you want to convey as an artist through the medium of your film. It is the most personal reason for writing a film or for making any art form. Because as an artist, you have opinions. and you want your film or whatever art piece you make to be a vehicle for those opinions and to justify and ground through art the reason why your worldview is valid. Now, themes in films are usually posed as a question. And by answering that question, you establish your worldview. Okay? Over here, I started with one theme and then I ended up on another.
Hmm.
Okay? So I
Okay.
started with can two polar opposites build a lasting romantic relationship?
Hmm.
Right? Because while they keep saying can a man and woman be friends, can a man and woman be friends, they actually mean can two very different people be in a
People different.
relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like in this day and age, it's archaic to say like
Yeah.
man and woman. And then I was like, okay, but how have they answered that question? The
Hmm.
question is, yes, they can build a lasting romantic relationship if one of them changes.
Hmm.
Because Saif does change at the end of
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
He becomes committal.
Hmm.
And that took me to Ye Jawani Hai Diwani,
Hmm.
where it's a very similar thing where, Ranbir's character is like a travel journalist or whatever, seeking freedom. And Deepika is like, no, I'm who I am. I'm here. I'm stable. And at the end of it, he also chooses to stay with Deepika over a traveling, like an assignment.
Hmm.
And even here, Saif chooses to like stop being someone who's non-committal and chooses commitment.
Hmm.
And your theme is essentially portrayed also through a character arc, right? So
Yeah.
your character, if you want to prove that commitment is the way of life, is the
Hmm.
superior choice, then
Hmm.
you'll show a character who's non-committal and then
Hmm.
learns that commitment is the way, which
Hmm.
is what has been done here. Because if
Yeah.
you notice, Rani doesn't have a character arc.
Yeah. She doesn't. Yeah.
She doesn't.
The only
But
change she has is like she starts to like this guy. Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
but
Like
that's not a personality change.
she sees layers of him, and like
Yeah,
she starts to realize that, oh, he's a nice guy.
nice guy. Yeah,
Huh.
for sure. So I then rewrote it and said that what is more fulfilling, freedom or commitment or stability? That is the theme of your film.
Hmm.
Because the theme it comes only from Saif's point of view.
Hmm.
Like Rani is so there only. She's like
Yeah.
always looking for commitment, all of that. Right? And to drive that home further, we always talk about your B plot. Your
Hmm.
B plot is essentially shows another facade of the theme
Yeah.
or it reinforces the theme.
Yeah.
And over here, with the B plot, is the story of Saif Ali Khan's parents,
Parents.
Rishi
Yeah.
Kapoor and Rati Agnihotri, right? Rishi Kapoor, as the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so they're both really similar. He was actually a photographer, went around the world
Hmm.
traveling, and he had married Rati Agnihotri, but they had
Hmm.
separated because he couldn't let go of his freedom.
Yeah.
But by the end of this film, he is essentially he has decided that my love is more important. I'm a fool to have given up my love, my
Yeah.
commitment for freedom, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And to drive home the theme, what I really like is this one sequence of scenes,
Hmm.
okay? Where once Rani Mukherjee is married, you
Hmm.
have two scenes. One with Saif at the airport with Abhishek Bachchan, Rani's
Hmm.
husband.
Hmm.
And Abhishek Bachchan says, you know what, you think I've not been where you are, like
Hmm.
constantly wanting freedom, wanting different women, all of that. But once you're with someone, you
Hmm.
realize what the perks of commitment actually are.
Hmm.
And the next scene is him meeting his dad.
Hmm.
And his dad is the flirt. He's the vagabond. He can't stop hitting on women, living his life of freedom. And there you see that has a Saif is in the middle right now.
Hmm.
Which direction is he going to go? Is he going to go the
Oh.
Abhishek Bachchan route or is he going to go the Rishi Kapoor route? And I
Hmm.
thought that was a very good visual way of posing the thematic question that
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
way is he going to go? So you can
Hmm.
really do this. Like in small, if you have two characters who are, someone's battling between two characters, you simply visually put them between those two characters
Yeah. Yeah.
and you establish the theme if each
Hmm.
character on their side represent different things. So this was a
Hmm.
very similar way of doing that. Like
Yeah.
who is he
Very
going to
cool.
become?
Very cool observation. Hmm. I don't think of this way. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I have on theme.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so Yeah, right. And then since we're here, we can just dive into like plotting a little bit, which is
Yeah,
just the Rishi Kapoor track.
yeah,
How it doesn't exactly tie into the
yeah.
A plot, but because Rani Mukherjee has called the father and said that I'm leaving Paris and all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Because of that, Rishi Kapoor comes to India and tells Saif. He could have made a phone call. I don't know why he came on.
Also, she said,
Yeah.
"I'm leaving Paris." Why did he again go to Paris? Like they've treated this world as if it's Borivali Andheri church के. You know?
तो भी नहीं मिलेगा यार इंसान नहीं
Yeah,
मिलेगा.
yeah, exactly. Oh, these
Yeah.
these I'll tell you the problem why these things happen is
Hmm.
because you have to structure somehow your Hindi film like this. Like you need to have the big chase in the end, the big realization in the end. He has to go run after the girl, and so you want to hit these beats, which didn't exist
Yeah.
in the Nora Ephron film, by the way.
No.
So that's why because what ends up happening is that you're using too many conveniences for the sake of your plot, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that she said, I'm leaving from Paris. Oh, but this guy has come from Paris to Mumbai to tell him this.
Yeah.
वो भी मुंबई से वापस पेरिस ही गया उसको ढूंढने के लिए स्पेसिफिकली जब उसको बोला मैं पेरिस से जा रही हूँ and then again, but it gave you those sequences, right? Like
Yeah.
him having that realization that, oh, maybe I was wrong. Him
Hmm.
chasing, running, driving that car, going to the airport, all of that, you get these big moments because of like this plot convenience they have taken here. Yeah,
Exactly, because you need emotion. It's
yeah,
emotion over logic here,
yeah,
all the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Because yeah, because they couldn't have done that over a phone call. Like the
No,
impact wouldn't have come of Rishi
yeah,
Kapoor saying "Arey Rani's leaving" types.
yeah,
It had to happen in person.
yeah.
So yeah.
And
So
what it also does is a little bit damage for the B plot, right? Like this moment that where his father realized this that, oh, I made a mistake. We didn't see that. It ends up
mm-hmm.
becoming a sermon,
Yeah.
and it just
Yeah.
it falls a little flat for me because these can be just empty words. Like, especially for a character like that, who you see that he's been so smooth with words with like other women and all of that. This can mean just any other random
Mm.
thing. We've never
Yeah.
seen him actually understand this. So
No.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, kind of there, the B plot does affect the A plot
of
in some
course,
way because
totally. Yeah,
Rani calls Rishi tells Saif, and then
yeah,
um, so he tells, and Saif goes chasing after her. So that is
yeah,
your important bit of plotting where your B plot always needs to affect the A plot. It can't exist in a vacuum.
yeah.
Hmm. Cool. Let's go into scenes and sequences.
Okay. Uh, I want to talk about the opening scene of the film where uh Saif Ali Khan, Karan's character, is having a press release, which is sort of the non-linear format this movie is trying to follow a little bit, not a non-linear format, but just like an opening image.
Yeah.
And these journalists, and it's a launch of his book. He's a cartoonist, and so far, but this is his first book he's made based on those characters that he's created. Now, all these journalists are asking him questions, and he says something in the end कि प्यार तो एक ही बार मिला लेकिन प्यार तो एक ही बार हुआ लेकिन कहीं बार-बार आया मेरी ज़िंदगी में.
Hmm.
And this leads us to the flashback of from 9 years ago, where he met Rani Mukherjee's character for the first time. Now, excuse me, there's nothing too great about the scene, but I've always struggled with writing scenes like this because your journalists can bombard 100,000 questions, right? And they all have to like, but the good scene would be like they say something like the exchange between the journalists have to like be telling of the character because it's the first scene and the first exchange your main character does.
Hmm.
And ultimately, but it also has to structurally hit you so that the flashback feels earned at that point.
Yeah.
So the trick there's not a technique, but the trick I use to write a scene, like I do reverse. I write it in reverse. That first I figure out that how um this what line will prompt me into going into
Hmm.
flashback, and then try and work up the conversation with different journalists.
Yeah.
And I felt that somewhere a little bit this was done here also. The
Mm-hmm.
the drawback of this technique is that you have to take again leaps. Is
Yeah.
and which is what these reporters have also done, like
Yeah,
us,
they're
a lot of
very.
the one reporter says, और आपकी जिंदगी में भी तो कई प्यार आए होंगे. Again, so, what? Who
Yeah.
will ask this, right? But
Yeah.
because you have to get into the next line कि नहीं प्यार एक ही बार आया लेकिन बार बार आया. So
Hmm.
uh, and there was another dialogue कि so he says something about कि there is a we I don't want to talk about love stories which have materialized because what's the point?
Yeah. Fine.
And the love stories which did not materialize, what's the point of talking? Again, could have ended there, but the reporter added the
Yeah.
line ki, but kahin pyar adhure bhi reh jate hain. And I was like, what is
Like
going on?
this is turning into like a
One exposition like mess
yeah.
and like one sermon, like, lecture.
Yeah, yeah. These aren't journalists. This is like group therapy.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody
Yeah.
facilitating.
Yeah.
Uh, so, um, there was pros and cons of the scene, hence I wanted to talk about that. The pro is that you need to be like very mindful of each line you put here because it's telling of his character.
Hmm.
uh, and the con is that it's a very hard scene to write essentially
Yeah.
because you're trying to
Yeah.
achieve too much from it.
Too much. Yeah.
So
With characters who you don't care about,
care
essentially.
about, yeah,
Journalists.
exactly. And had the scene extended for 1 more minute, I would have been angry. you know
Yeah. They
yeah,
had to take leaps. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, this was one
Yeah.
scene I want to talk about.
And speaking of that scene, I want to talk about the scene before that, which is the
Hmm.
opening credits.
Huh.
And the opening credits, like usually the visuals of opening credits are quite like they're thematically on point, but
Yeah.
they're quite removed from the film. They have
Hmm.
nothing to really connect to with the story. So
Hmm.
over here, they have the opening credits over just a hand and a pencil doodling, like
Hmm.
sketching a character. But
Yeah.
as the credits get over, Saif's voiceover comes.
Yeah.
And it comes over him as his hand doodles the rest of the character or
Hmm.
sketches the rest of it. So what they've done very intelligently is used the opening credits to get audience buy-in.
Hmm.
Because audience is like, oh, they weren't wasting our time by showing
Hmm.
us opening credits. They
Hmm.
used it. It is part of the story, all of this. So I think that's a very smart way and not something that we often think of or write
Hmm.
into our scripts because no one writes credits in. But if I could, this is an intelligent way of doing it that how can I not waste anyone's time? How can you
Yeah.
be as economic in your storytelling as you can and even have the visuals of your opening image tie
Yeah.
into the story? Because this, and especially in our decreasing attention spans kind of
Yeah.
age, you have to do things like this.
Yeah. And I also think the the opening credits again made a very clear tonal choice, right? Like it's lively, fun music, so
Hmm.
it's gonna be a fun rom-com movie. And
Yeah.
again, like you said, it's economical, but also like true to the character of the film because these are his characters that you're gonna see in
Yeah.
the film. And
Exactly.
and also the opening voiceover which he says becomes so demonstrative of his character, which is the voiceover he says is that God made man and he was very happy with his creation. And then he made a
Hmm.
woman and he was like, oh my God, what have I done? So
Yeah.
you immediately know what Karan's character is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Then I want to talk about the element of surprise in a
Hmm.
scene. Um, now Karan is in New York. He's on a date with somebody with this girl, and he ends up spotting Rani Mukherjee's character. Now you think, oh, he's gonna abandon this girl and he's gonna like chit chat with this girl, chit chat with Rani Mukherjee. They're gonna have some takrar, some banter here and there, and the story will move on from there, right?
Hmm.
Now, this scene brings two elements of surprises. That number one is that the girl he was with and the girl he spots now, they actually turned out to be friends from school. They knew each other. So what he thought, he like left one situation behind and he was trying to get into another one. Now those situations have to merge. So I thought
Yeah.
that was a great sequence, great moment of surprise which
Yeah.
happened in that scene. And again, what ended up happening is that went with the expectation that, oh, now he spotted Rani again. So there's going to be some um,
Progression.
ignition of this relationship again,
Yeah.
but they separate immediately. So I
Yeah.
thought this, even though it was such a small scene, it became such a key scene in the movie because they used the element of surprise very tactfully in this sequence.
Exactly. And coincidence is a technique, right?
Uh,
Because coincidence is essentially frowned upon
hmm,
because it makes your characters' lives easier. But the
hmm,
one time you're allowed to use a coincidence is when it makes your characters' lives harder. And
harder.
over here, Rani and Shalini knowing each other made Saif's life harder. So
Hmm.
that's why you get away with these coincidences.
Yeah. I want to talk about the technique of comedic riff of repetition. So sometimes what writers will do is that they'll set up one small joke or like one character who like is like a comic relief character, and they sort of keep bringing it, the same joke up in this almost the same or the subsequent scenes to like keep having the same punch going on. And I thought this was done very nicely in the wedding moments. In the first time, the first wedding essentially, which was of Rani and Abhishek Bachchan, where two things happen. One is his interaction with the helper Jhalloram,
Yeah.
which so it happens like the first time like Jhalloram comes like, what कौन से फूल लगाऊं मैं? He's like, तेरे को जो लगाना लगा, you know.
Yeah.
And then again Jhalloram comes, is like, सूजी से बात करे, सूजी का तो हलवा बनाते हैं, you know. And again the third time Jhalloram comes, which is like, मोतीचूर लड्डू बनाने कि क्या बनाने?
Yeah.
So th- this character has no like presence up and down in the film, right?
Mhm.
But he's just been used for comedic relief. And I think just the sheer repetition of the number of times he comes induces the laughter for our audience.
Yeah.
So I thought that
Yeah.
was a great technique. And again, they use it in terms of dialogue also, where when we see Seth in this new haircut in Bombay, his mom is like, cut your hair. And he's like, hey, it's my Tom Cruise look, yeah.
Hmm.
And again, in this next scene, same Rani asks, what have you done to your hair? She's like, hey, it's my Tom Cruise look, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, using the same joke again and again to create laughter. So I thought that was
Laughter.
a good
Yeah.
technique they used.
Another technique I want to talk about is creating curiosity when you're jumping time.
Hmm.
So, jumping time flashbacks are usually frowned upon because no one's interested in flashbacks, right?
Oh.
But one thing you can do with the flashback really well is to create curiosity. And how have they done this? So at first, you see Saif with the press release, as we talked about. He's a serious guy. He's talking about love. He's saying love has met me a million times, but but it's adhura reh gaya. It's unrequited love. And then you cut to a flashback, essentially, which is the whole story, and you see Saif in a completely different light. He's
Hmm.
non-committal. Like love isn't part of the picture.
Hmm.
So, what does this do? This creates curiosity as to how is he going to become this person? What's
Hmm.
going to transpire? So, I
Hmm.
think if you are doing a flashback, you need to have such a range between the two that you're
Hmm.
interested in how they go from point A to point Z.
Hmm.
And similarly, they also do it with Rani and Saif's relationship because the moment they introduce Rani, you know that she's the love interest, right?
Hmm.
But you start them off on like the wrong foot. She's absolutely uninterested in him. You see the big difference between them. And
Hmm.
again, you're like, how is it going to go from this relationship to a man who is pining over her and writing a book about her? So when you're creating flashbacks, have range of who the
Hmm.
people are also. Of course,
Hmm.
it's a function of the amount of time that has also passed because, 9 years have passed, so they have grown as people. But
Yeah.
in general, I think your flashback needs to warrant, even if it's a
Hmm.
small sequence,
Hmm.
so much emotion and so much drama, even if you're jumping a very small amount of time, that you
Hmm.
warrant going back into it and visually spending time there, especially in a film. Not so much in a
Yeah.
series, but especially in a film.
Yeah.
Hmm? And I think the next thing we should talk about is animation, because Zingur
Mm,
specifically asked us about using animation as a technique here.
mm,
And I tried to study it from that point of view and see what came up. And there are three things it's doing.
mm.
One is, most honestly, it's novelty. I
Yeah.
think visual
Yeah.
texture
Yeah.
novelty, that's what this animation does. And because it doesn't really give us new information,
Yeah.
it's just fun to watch. And
Yeah.
audiences are like, oh, cool, like I'm
Yeah.
watching something interesting.
Yeah.
Two, what it does is it jumps time. So
Hmm.
every time we are between cities, and it helps us jump time between, creates a transition.
Transition, essentially. Yeah.
Right? And the third thing it does is it summarizes the essence of their last interaction.
Hmm.
So in like the first meeting they have, after that you see a first animation sequence where they both are constantly bantering, Hum and Tum, and they're on completely different pages.
Hmm.
In the second one, after Rani has put him in his place, after telling Shalini that he was with
Hmm.
me in Amsterdam, you have the animation where Hum is on the back foot, like he's like,
Hmm.
okay, he gets us. Then when there's a false sense of bravado that he has shown in one thing, then the next one you have him with the false shark fin.
Hmm.
So it summarizes the essence of what the interaction has gone on, and it shows
Yeah.
us what the status quo is. So
Yeah.
that is the function it serves here. It is not essential. It is purely decorative and for
Yeah.
texture, but it
Yeah.
works.
It's style and treatment,
Yeah.
I think like you need these elements sometimes in movies to like just because again like rom-coms are such a like a this bad reputation of like, oh, they're just like, again, it's like run of the mill, it's like two people falling in love, like, but
Yeah.
these are like small elements which you can use to sort of like give a visual break to the audience.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I want to talk about callbacks are either pieces of dialogue or moment or scenes between characters that take place, either to establish two things: that the nature of the relationship has either changed or the nature of the relationship has not changed at all. I want to talk about w- two callback moments that I have. One is that uh, when he pays for her bus ticket in Amsterdam, she pays him back and she says 50-50. Like, I always
Yeah.
believe in 50-50. And this moment comes again when I think it's in Paris where he's gotten meal for her, and she tells him that, you know what, like I don't want your pity, like I don't want that, and then immediately says, oh, you know what, this much was for the food, give me 50. It establishes that the relationship hasn't changed, so
Yeah.
I thought this was a good callback moment.
Yeah.
Uh, the second moment which comes again and again in the movie is her coffee order, which the first time he meets her in the plane and she orders coffee, and she has a very specific coffee order, which is that she takes coffee without no like 1 spoon of sugar, but it's brown sugar, and 2 spoons of milk. And it comes again. So the first time he hears it there, that she has this very peculiar coffee order. The second time he hears it is when they're on a train in Amsterdam, train in Paris, sorry, train in Paris.
Same
And
only. Huh.
same only, yeah. And he overhears her coffee order. So here the callback is just actually a moment to remind him that, oh, it's actually an identity placing more than any
Hmm.
of these things, that whether the relationship has changed or not. But the third time they use it in the movie is when he is chasing her from Mumbai and he's going after her and he orders this in the flight. Uh, because now the relationship nature for him has changed. He's fallen in love with her. So I
Hmm.
thought that was a good callback they used in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And one more callback they have is that scene when they're on a fake date where they're like, let's play date like an arranged marriage
Uh,
situation. And they say that, and she's like, okay, like he's like, I'll be sitting at the table with Tommy and the kids. And she's
yeah.
like, oh, so you'll put the Tommy and like the kids before me. And then,
Yeah.
I will cut you into pieces and feed you to
Uh,
Tommy. And it's playful. It's like, okay. And then at the end, when they finally get together, He says that we'll have the Tommy and the kids. She's like, yeah, but I come first, or else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this shows like there it was in jest, and here it is serious. That now we're
Yeah.
actually doing this.
Yeah.
Which is essentially a good point to like seg into genre tropes, I think,
Yeah.
because this fake date sequence is a genre trope. You see them
Yeah.
in, well, none of them come to mind right now, but fake dates are a very common genre trope in
Yeah.
rom-com.
Yeah.
And why does this trope work so well? Because for a brief moment, it allows the audience as well as the character to experience the end result. And especially in a film like this, where you're waiting for the end result for a very long time, this gives the audience what they want, what they're waiting for a little earlier, so that they're baiting you a little bit.
Yeah.
And what it does is it creates more longing within the characters that, oh, so this is what we're actually missing out on.
Yeah.
So I think this is a very cool genre trope.
Fake date, pretending to be on a date or pretending to have a life together. One moment, one reference that comes to mind is the show Girls, where in the final season, like Hannah is finally met Adam again, and for one day they go on this thinking like, what if we were still together? Like, how does it work out? So it was a very cool genre trope, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Another one in the similar lines is accidentally holding hands or like touching each other early on in the film, because that is again the visual grammar of your film. That's the point of the film. Your characters need to touch, but it hasn't earned its spot early on in the film. So you always have something accidental or something planned, like in Lotera, when she holds his hand to like show him how to paint. Like showing him how to paint is secondary, it's holding his hand, but it's okay, like under these circumstances.
Yeah.
So, and one thing they do, they always do it in plane-based rom-coms. Like I remember this in the statistical probability of love at first sight also. There's turbulence and you hold the other person's hand.
Yeah.
It always works because you want to like get there faster. You want to tease it.
In this case, it's reversed. No, like when they hold hands, the turbulence happens. You know, like
yeah.
So this is again another subgenre of this trope, which is that when the first time the main protagonists touch each other, something electric happens, like something goes wrong, you know. So like sometimes like when they'll touch, like a bomb will go up in the background, or like what will happen is like something will happen, you know, like either it'll have a slow motion or something of that sort. Like that first, how can you make that first touch special? And they've actually in this movie kept using this motif again and again, which is that whenever the two of them do meet, something will go wrong, you know? So whether like the waitress falling when they meet, or it's January mein barish or whatever happens. So very cool genre trope again.
Definitely. And then there's your classic fantasy versus reality, which is where in the song where Saso, Saso, that's the one, right?
Yeah.
After they've had their big falling out, and Rani is walking Saif home because he's drunk, and they spot a lot of couples on their way. And Rani imagines her and Saif to be in as each of the couples, but in reality, she's just taking this drunk guy back home.
Yeah.
So that is the one genre trope, and this again works because you want to create longing in both the character and the audience that, yeah, make this happen now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's our classic meet cute. And over here, I thought the meet cute was actually worth breaking down. So what is a meet cute? Your meet cute is two characters who are going to fall in love, meeting and getting off on the wrong foot with each other. Now, why are these genre tropes important? Is because it creates range. Because when they start off on the wrong foot, then you're curious as to what is going to happen across the length of this film for them to finally get back together, right? But a genre tropes needs to have like some essential elements to it. So first you have the wrong foot here of Rani Mukherjee asking for coffee, and he's just like, good, I don't like women. You know what kind of women drink tea? She's like, my mom drinks tea. It's like, okay. Like, that's conservative women. So they've gotten off on the wrong foot. It creates conflict.
Yeah.
Again, while the plane is taking off, she's praying, it's like, Vah Vai Guruji, and he's like, Jo bole
So,
soneal.
yeah.
So, it's
Cultural misappropriation there.
appropriation. Yeah. But I think he is also Punjabi, no?
Yeah, whatever. He is
Whatever,
Punjabi.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. But yeah, there again, she's insulting the religion. So
Yeah.
wrong foot.
Yeah.
So that's one technique. Then you have having different expectations.
Hmm.
Where over here he's like, oh, she'll definitely be checking me out, and he turns slightly and she's looking outside the window.
Window. Yeah.
Again, creates conflict. That okay, when's it going to come to the point that she checks him out? Then they've established that they're opposites. She's OCD, she's cleaning like her kata chammach and all in the plane, and he's over there sneezing into her food like
Food.
shamelessly.
Yeah.
Right? So these are essential elements.
Yeah.
But your genre trope also needs to have, your meet cute also needs to have a moment of them being on the same page to give the audience something, or even to give the characters a sense that even though we might be so different, there is some spark here. And over here, when Saif is thinking, oh, maybe I should like ask her to borrow the magazine, she only asks, can I borrow the magazine? So like, there is some spark of maybe, did she think about it with the same intention? We don't know.
No.
But it creates that they are kind of on the same page thing.
Yeah.
So the make cute needs to balance conflict with also some amount of chemistry.
Yeah. Like it's all in character work, essentially.
All.
One more genre trope I have is that a couple actually. One is the big chase in the end,
Grand chase.
where one of the characters, either the guy or the girl, realizes that they love the other character and they will go running after them by the end of the movie. We saw it happening in Band Baja Barat with Bittu running after Anushka's character, and in this one, Saif Karan goes after Ria. So we have him shots of driving, and they use the technique of like flashes where uh, he relives every moment of like what was special between the two of them, and it also reminds the audience like, oh, like they are supposed to be together, right? So
Yeah.
it creates that moment, or it gives the big high of big chase in the end,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. Bolo?
No, I also what I liked is in this grand gesture, they also used a grand gesture one more time when they were friends, which is when he's trying to console her after her husband has died. And it starts with him going to her house, walking her, then getting her Chinese food. And he's like, nothing is working. So then he breaks into a song and dance sequence where they go into like chak de, chak de, chak de. And that finally makes her laugh. So they have used the grand gesture to bring up change in the plot in the middle of the film, even as friends. So and they've combined essentially Indian storytelling of using songs with the genre tropes of using like a grand gesture and made the story move forward. And I forgot to bring this up, the Indianization, the fake date that they have, the pretend date. It's not a normal pretend date. It's an arranged marriage pretend date. So again, they've used the tropes, but they have culturally made them relevant, which is what's really important.
Yeah. And with the big chase, I forgot to mention one more technique they've used in this film is subverting the expectation. That because it's a trope, you, the audience, will think that, oh, अब तो ये hero heroine के पास जाने वाला है, and it'll be a great happy ending of sorts, And but because the writers have plotted that, oh, he's not gonna find her, how can we subvert this expectation more and more? So hence they also use the flashbacks of them falling in love, them spending time together. So the audience think, oh, these guys are so perfect for each other, right? So like they're meant to be. But only when he doesn't find her and he realizes he's lost her probably forever, that hits you more. So I thought that technique of subverting the expectation was also greatly done here. Another genre trope I want to talk about is rain being a pivotal moment in these romance films. Rain comes at rain is used when it's a moment of like it's an extremely important moment in the character's journey. Either it could be the first time they meet or the first time they realize that, oh, we are falling in love with each other, or in this case, when they actually come together.
Hmm.
Uh, and so in this case, when what happens is that Karan is walking home after this press release, and he's in like January mein barish. So and then it starts raining, and he turns around, and Rani Mukherjee's character is waiting for him.
Hmm.
So another time, a reference which comes to my mind is Wake Up Sid, where uh, Ranbir Kapoor's character follows Konkana, and it's raining in the end, and they have like the big
Hmm.
culmination in the Bombay rains. So
Hmm.
I thought like
Yeah.
rain is like, and it's also sometimes badly used, but I thought this was like nicely used here.
Yeah. Even
Yeah,
Saif and Rani, when they hook up here, it's raining.
it's raining. Yeah, huh,
And
yeah,
when they meet post her husband dying, it's snowing.
huh,
And
yeah,
what it also creates is intimacy, right? Because you're
huh,
under an umbrella. So
yeah,
it creates physical intimacy.
yeah.
So,
And one moment we want to talk about is clocking, where um especially in a film like this, where it's early on established that one of the characters has absolutely no interest in the other person as a potentially significant other, you have to have a moment where the character realizes and the audience realizes, oh, maybe now they see them in a different light. And in this case happens with actually both of their characters a little bit. uh, it's very evident with Rani Mukherjee's character, where after he's come to drop her home, he walks along with her. He wants to offer essentially his condolence, to like, because he comes to know that her husband has passed away, and but he can't. He's just that kind of guy. But she ends up telling thank you to him anyway. And after he leaves with her umbrella, she just gives like one double take at him.
hmm.
Like it's that moment of, it's a very small moment in a romance movie, but it's extremely important because you don't, so that the audience don't feel the sudden jump, that they don't feel like, oh, right now she didn't care about him and now she's directly in love with him. Like,
Hmm.
how do you bridge that gap is when they clock each other. And I think the clocking from his side happened a little bit when he sees her get married. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's a long stay on his face. Like, he still doesn't, he's not able to decipher what this means, but he obviously doesn't
Yeah.
feel happiest about it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
thought that was a great moment.
Such a dude moment, now. Actually,
Yeah,
I'm feeling some feelings, but
yeah.
I don't know what to do with these
I don't know
feelings.
how to spell the word feelings also.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's that moment. And I think when we're talking about romantic comedies, and especially today, one, there's not a genre trope, but a test which now a lot of films, especially the romance genre, are talking about,
Hmm.
is the Bechdel test, where I'll define what the test is. That this test was introduced in modern literature to see if your movie has has female characters which are sort of also empowering. They also have arcs of their own. They're just not about the man altogether, because conventionally we've known that female characters are essentially for the male arc.
Hmm.
Even though we've said that this movie also does in some way,
Yeah.
but Rani Mukherjee's character is a very complex character, and a lot of
Hmm.
different things happen to her. So I think it's sort of forgiven that, at least even if though she doesn't have a major arc, her character has been put through a lot. So
Hmm.
I think, which discovers her complexity as a character. The test has three criteria. Is that the first criteria is that there needs to be a scene where there are two women in the movie. That's the first basic criteria. The second criteria is that these women should not just be lamps or furniture; they should be talking to each other. So that's the
Hmm.
second criteria. And the third criteria is that they should be talking, but anything but a man.
Yeah.
Uh, and I thought this movie had one scene like that, which was Rani Mukherjee's breakdown scene with her mom, where
Hmm.
she goes and hugs her mom and says that, you know what, I just wanna leave. Like, it's been too much, and I just wanna live somewhere where nobody knows me, nobody needs me, and I wanna go. And the mother says, I'm gonna come with you. And I thought that was a great moment of bonding between the two characters.
Yeah.
And again, not about a man, although repercussions from a man's doing,
Yeah.
but it's still about healing in that moment. And it's
Hmm.
about personal development rather than anything else.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good Bechdel test crossing in 2004. Who knew? You
Yeah.
know? So, yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's all I have on genre tropes.
Cool. Should we go into characters next?
Yeah, let's do characters. Yeah.
Okay, so just beginning with Saif's character.
Hmm.
I think the opening itself tells us a lot. Like it establishes admiration of the from the get go,
Hmm.
because you open with a press release, you open with success. People are curious about his book, and you open with news channels reporting that this book is selling out. I'm like, when has that happened?
Ever happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless it's a book which gets banned. So, like,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But he's not Salman Rushdie, but still. Over
Yeah.
here we have so that does the first thing, which is establishes admiration.
Yeah.
Other characters speaking well of this character, and we see him as successful. So,
Yeah.
and we like characters who are successful because we want aspire to be successful, unless you're
Yeah.
European, I guess. Then, sorry, I'm in one of those moods today.
Wow. Amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that we immediately want to watch this character.
Hmm.
And the second is the airport sequence, the
Hmm.
airport scene where his parents are there. I mean,
Hmm.
his mom is there, and it immediately establishes okay,
Hmm.
one, he's got a good relationship with his mom. He talks
Hmm.
to her casually. B, the mom also sees that he's flirting with a girl, and she's like, Arey, matlab. So you
Yeah.
realize that A, their relationship is that of like they're friends with each other, and B, that it's such a common occurrence in his life that she's also like, Arey, I don't even want to know who this girl
Yeah.
is. Establish that he's irresponsible because he doesn't have his passport, car keys,
Yeah.
nothing, and Jimmy Shergill gives him his passport. And you establish the dynamics, the family dynamics he comes from, because the
Hmm.
mom is there, but the dad is not there. The dad calls, and you realize there's some strife there.
Hmm.
So I think that's a very economic way in one scene of
Hmm.
giving you all the relevant information you need to know about characters.
Yeah.
And as I say that, what comes to mind is, these scenes which are pivotal in a person's life, like moving
Hmm.
countries, all of that. That's when, A, because I'm someone who's moved countries a lot, like you are kind of vulnerable,
Hmm.
and all because you're managing so many things, all your weaknesses, all your impulses kind of come out a lot, and that's why people around you are also emotional. So
Yeah.
you get a sense of the most core
Yeah.
characteristics of a person. It comes out in these moments. So I
Yeah.
think crafting a departure scene or a farewell
Hmm.
scene like this really helps show people for who they are.
And essentially, like, what ends up happening realistically is like your whole life suddenly you take a checklist in that departure moment,
Yeah.
right? Like, suddenly everything has to make sense right now, you know?
Yeah, your priorities are there
Huh.
in front
Yeah.
of you. That either
Yeah.
you care about this or you don't. It
You
doesn't
don't.
come with you.
But there will be posed a question that this is an item. You decide now, do you care about this or not?
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying that the daddy issues come here, the relationship
Mm,
with mom, the friend, that he's forgetful and like he's a flirt, and all of that culminates into this one moment because
mm,
it's a departure scene, like,
yeah.
yeah. I also think Seth's character is a full manic pixie dream boy. you know, like like passport bhul jana, this bumping, falling,
Mm.
joking, over yapper. Like he can't sit silent next to her. So
Yeah.
I think like uh, I'll just tell our audience there's been like a reputation of like our female characters and all our movies being manic pixie dream girl, where essentially to boil it down, I can say 100 things about it. But what it means is it's a quirky female character. Like, she's the girl next door. She can eat cake but still be very thin. Like she's that character, like very
Yeah.
happy-go-lucky, jovial, forgetful. All of these things come
Yeah.
into, and I think he is that male version in this movie.
Yeah, yeah. Well
Yeah,
noted.
yeah, because she is not, and I
Hmm.
feel like a romantic comedy, one of them have to be.
Have to be. Yeah.
Yeah, how much ever this controversial opinion this is, but like it has to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then Rani Mukherjee's character,
yeah,
we are immediately introduced from Saif's eyes.
yeah.
Because Saif says that, I fell in love with this woman or whatever. And then we cut to 9 years ago. And you see Rani Mukherjee, and she's not seen in the most flattering of lights. She
Yeah.
is quite grumpy, quite dismissive, like, "Ye kya chal raha hai?" She's got a snarky look on her face. But that creates curiosity because
Mm.
Saif has said that I fell in love with her. You are willing to give this character a chance. So the
Yeah.
technique over here for an introduction of the character is seeing them through another person's eyes. And
Mm.
this is not like, talking good, but this is more about creating intrigue.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And another technique I want to talk about here is peeling the onion,
Mm.
which they have done with Rani's character. So, peeling the onion is essentially revealing that the character has more and more layers to them.
Mm.
So, when you first see Rani, she's super uptight. She's,
Mm.
like cleaning her cutlery. She's like, "Don't mess with me," blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, as you get to know her, just through the initial sequences, you see that she's not as uptight as you'd believe.
Yeah.
Like when he smokes, she says that smoking is bad, but he's like, "You should try it." And she tries it.
Tries it. Yeah.
She's not as uptight. Like she gives things back to them. Like she'll say one thing, but she's like, "Chalo, I thought we were going to go to like Amsterdam. Now, what are you
Yeah.
doing here?"
Yeah.
So they've revealed another layer of her. So that's a
Yeah.
character deepening technique that she's not as uptight as it seems.
Seems. Yeah.
But why is this really important? Because then in the Amsterdam sequence, when Saif says that all men essentially want to just sleep with women, she goes and says that you're sick and she walks away. And if I had not seen the more playful sides of Rani, I would have
Mm.
been like, "Are this woman is just uptight in every regard,
Yeah.
like obviously she's uptight about this." But now you're like, no, she's actually reasonable. She's
Mm.
fun. There's nothing wrong with her. She's relatable like you and me. So if she's decided to draw a boundary there, it's
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
if you want to show a character take an extreme stance, you have to show us that that is not the only stance they're capable of.
Mm.
They're capable of various of holding two truths at a time, of being
Yeah.
complex, so that when they do take an extreme stance, you think that they're not a fundamentalist. They're just someone who has a set of values and principles.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great observation. I never thought about that.
So Zingur, who recommended, I hope I'm saying your name right, who recommended we break down this movie, has asked that how does the banter in the first half of the film influence the tension in the second half? And when you think about all relationships, how they begin, you always begin with things starting off light, starting
Mm.
off easy. But as you get to know a person, you become more real. You start talking about real things. You care about them. You want to take care of them. And that superficial nature of banter behind which you're hiding starts to fade away. So
Mm.
what I think they've done in this film is basically just done a study of how human emotions, relationships function. And
Mm.
that is what they've employed. That Saif and Rani don't need to keep up this facade of, haha, we're so happy because we don't know each other enough to trauma dump right now. Instead, instead they do that. So those emotions arise very organically. And what was the other question?
The other question answered. The question is, how do they ensure the later half, where Rani Mukherjee's past doesn't make you too emotional while getting the point across?
Hmm.
I think, I think that they don't manage very successfully, honestly. I do think the tone of the movie changes.
It
Like
does.
your first half is very light. It's very
Yeah.
simple. It's very on the surface. Uh, but the second half does take a dip.
Hmm.
So the tone changes where it's no more a very funny film, which started in the first half of the movie. Now it's become a little more restrained comedy. Like the comedies comes only from like Rani Mukherjee's mother, essentially,
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
little bit from Saif also.
Yeah.
Uh, but so I do think the tone has taken a hit here. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think what he's trying to ask is like, how how do you still feel invested in this character, to think that this is not going to be a serious heavy movie, is that even though Rani Mukherjee's character has faced such a catastrophic event in her life, right? Like losing somebody who you love, she doesn't become a hateful person.
Hmm.
Like, so she doesn't feel herself as to be an outcast. She doesn't
Yeah.
question the bigger things, like bigger beliefs of life, that why did this happen with me? Like,
Hmm.
she's none of that. She just now is closed with the idea of love, that,
Yeah.
oh, I thought I will get married to the love of my life. It's happened. The love will stay with me forever, you know?
Yeah.
But she's still happy about life. She like talks to people in the park very casually. Like, she
Yeah.
loves that child, you know? And I think and like she has such a good equation with her mother. Uh, and the fact that her coffee order hasn't changed,
Yeah.
that like that's a very small bit of it actually. But the fact that she hasn't lost her zeal for life,
Hmm.
that makes you it makes it still palatable to watch in the
Yeah.
same genre of the movie.
Exactly. Exactly. And the tone, I think, largely takes a hit from when the husband has died to chak de.
Yeah,
After that, like, she comes back to feeling kind of normal and stuff
yeah,
like that. And even then, like, Saif's humor is there to
yeah,
keep things light. They use the song to alleviate the tension.
yeah.
So they have tried to pad it up in some ways,
Ways.
compensate for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think what you're bang on actually, now that I think about it, is because once she comes back to her old self, the movie's tone again becomes slightly like comical, also with
Yeah.
the entry of Isha Kopikar's character. You know,
Yeah.
I thought like
Yeah.
the character of this stoner babe, drunk girl character, you know, extremely volatile. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, um, so again, they go back on some external comedic elements, which they did in the
Yeah.
first half. Uh, they did that, yeah. So I think
Yeah.
a fine balance of tone has been achieved, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Yes, we hope that answers your questions, Zingur, and if not, DM us,
yeah.
the drill. And that is all we have on Hum Tum. And we hope you enjoyed the breakdown. And like, share, subscribe, leave any questions, any suggestions down in the comments, or DM us on Instagram. And we will see you next Thursday on another episode of the Breakdown Besties podcast. Bye.
Bye. Hi again, bestie. The film that we are breaking down next week is Oh My God. Go watch it. It's a good film. And yeah, we had a great time breaking it down. So watch us next Thursday breaking down that film. Bye.